Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're welcome to your program, my program, our program, The State of the Ummah. It's a program where we look at some of the biggest issues confronting us as a community and how to deal with these issues. My name is Jibril Ibrahim and I will be your host on the program. Over the last 3 weeks, we've been looking at the issue of parenting. You see, the current socio-economic situation of the average city, average urban area today requires both the father and the mother, more often than not, to go out to work. And the busyness, the state of even relatives and the rest makes it more often than not, there are no adults left in the house in a typical morning. So who will parent and care and oversee the little ones in the house? It is this kind of gaps within the family structure, within the parenting structure in our homes, that has been identified as one of the reasons, one of the causes of a lot of the social ills that we see in the society. Abuja Muslim Forum had that town hall session where some of these issues were brought to the table. And when the issue of drug abuse was discussed, it was overwhelming that the problem starts from collapsed parenting. And everybody agreed that we need to find a way around parenting. And that is why it was proffered as a solution that communal parenting might be a way out. But communal parenting comes with its own issues. Can I trust my children with my neighbor? Can I trust my children with people that don't know and don't know me? And these are among the issues that the panelists and everybody at the town hall meeting discussed. Today we'll be going more into that discussion into how can we possibly reenact communal parenting. The town hall meeting had a lot of stakeholders, a lot of experts and elders within the community, including Professor Ben Umar of University of Abuja, Sheikh Tajuddin Bello, and various mothers and stakeholders in these issues of parenting. So we'll take a look at some of the discussions they had and we'll see what lessons we can grab from that session. The Muslim Ummah has been plagued by a number of challenges.
We are also being faced with the challenge of poverty.
Prof, how broken is the front home in the cause of this particular menace drug abuse?
This issue of single parenting that is trending in our society today.
Emotionally, those who consume drugs and who are abusers of drugs,
they don't know how to deal with it.
2 months ago, we are able to rehabilitate some of them.
How ready will a typical youth, what do you need to be ready to do dawah?
It's about the passion of having the dawah. Now, if you look at the young people in the Ummah of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they have done the most magnificent things.
We discover things that are terrible.
If it is the materials of this life that actually you are eager to achieve, then I should divorce you handsome.
What is communal parenting?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
First and foremost, I must say I'm very excited to be on this panel, and I greet my fellow panelists. Communal parenting is something that is very akin to our traditional African culture. That's what we've always known. That's how we all grew up. In fact, it's been so because we never really knew the word cousin in our society, in our traditional African society. In a home, you have all the members of the family present in that home. The grandparents are there, the uncles, we didn't even know for uncle. Everybody's your father, everybody's your mother, and all the siblings are your sisters and brothers. And in various languages, the same term for brother is used when you're translating it in English, we find it even difficult. How do I translate the word my grandmother's father, my grandmother's brother's son's daughter? It's very difficult to translate. In our languages, it's just your brother. So that's the essence of communal parenting. In the advent of our embracing the Western culture very rapidly, we have delegated our responsibility to the schools. You find in a typical, if you go back to even modern days, where a family can afford to send their children to school, the parents that never went to school defer authority and knowledge to that child. They feel that child knows more than them, and that child has a lot more to bring in. And if you look at that home setting, you find that as the child grows into secondary school, they're now not allowing them to do any chores at home. Oh no, let him study. He may not be studying, but we're deferring our parental rights to a child that we should be imbibing and giving our cultural heritage to. So that child has a lot of time in his hands. We have not been able to transfer from the home front to that child.
Thank you very much. I think what we've been able to get there is this communal parenting is part and parcel of Africa as who we are. So I will be throwing this question at Dr. Tajuddin Ashek. We've established the fact from what our distinguished senator just mentioned, that it is African to communally breed a child. Is it also Islamic? And what recourse do we have in the history of Islam to say this also is also an Islamic culture?
We give thanks to Almighty Allah. I also subscribe to those who attach the culture of communal parenting to Africa. Africans are polygamous in nature, and also they are communal in parenting. Islamically, that is the emphasis, because the Quran says, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Come together in assisting one another, in promoting righteousness, and condemning anything that is evil and corruption. This is general term. But when you come to specific truth, the Quran mentions classes of those who can raise a family, and the qualities of those who are to do that are mentioned. And it's not restricted to the father and the mother alone. It goes beyond that, including the schools, which we call the teachers. Allah says, "Inna al-Muslimina wal-Muslimati." Look at the combination, because it's beyond a person and it's beyond two. It goes beyond all this. It actually all in compassion. إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات والصابرين والصابرات والخاشئين والخاشئات والمتصدقات والمتصدقين والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروضهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. This in Surah Al-Ahzab. Allah says a Muslim woman, of course, he started with men and he mentioned the woman. Those who fear Allah, those who fear God the Creator, and those who are believers that there is a day of accountability, those who actually are humble, those who are righteous, those who are actually trustworthy, those who are given out, those who are humble, those who are fasting. You know, fasting gives a lot of lessons by restraining yourself from eating and drinking for a period of time. And those who engage themselves in remembering their Creator. And of course,
now,
these qualities, if gotten, are the ones who can put actually the family in a setting of being an ideal family. And as I've said earlier, it's not the work of one person in Islamic teaching. That's why teachers are also engaged in that. The environment near and far are engaged in that. And I said earlier, it's more complicated today because the far environment has no influence in the family before. But today it has actually influence. It must also be added to who will assist in reforming the family.
The home is the most important aspect that we need to look at. And it is the home that leads to the society. And if the home is strong, then we would most definitely have a very strong society. And if the home is shaky, it's not strong, then definitely there will be problems in the society. Who are those that make the home? The father and the mother. They come together to give birth to the children and to train those children. You cannot give what you don't have. If they don't have the right type of training, if they are not God conscious, if they are not disciplined, they cannot. It's Allah's will. Allah is the one that protects, He's the one that guides. However, it is also the duty of the parents to do that. If you don't have the right kinds of parents, then there will be issues in the home. We are in the school system. We know what we see, and we know what happens, and we know what goes on. And actually, sometimes when you see a child behaving in a particular way, and you meet the parents, you are like, it adds up. It actually adds up. So the fact is, with communal parenting, we are able to get everybody on the right footing. When we were growing up, we had the extended family, and we were corrected when we do things that are wrong. So hopefully, with that, you have good father and good mother that will come together to give birth and train good children. But now that we have situations where we are pushing communal parenting to the background, then if you have parents that are not morally upright, then definitely you know what will come out of the home.
Let me begin this way. If, as Muslims, we refuse or we shy away in educating our children religiously and morally, if we as Christians in Nigeria shy away our responsibility in ensuring that our children are educated religiously, we will end up producing intelligent devils. I don't know if you understand what I mean. That is why religious education is absolutely necessary. That today we have colleges, we have schools, we have many parents who don't bother about education. That many people feel that religious education should be left at the mercy of our religious institutions alone. I feel it is not adequate. So parents must teach, must discipline, must provide and care for their children. What so far I have seen in the university campus today, the other day, somebody came to the gate. University had closed. The daughter had not gone home. Few days earlier, the father has transferred 50,000 to her account, thinking that she was still writing the exams on campus. And he came to look for the daughter. The daughter was nowhere to be found. She has followed her so-called boyfriend to spend that 50,000. Sincerely speaking, we must, like I have said, as parents, be up and doing.
Sheikh, like you've mentioned, this is an integral aspect of Islam that the community grooms a child. And in the past, like you made recourse to the story of Omar, where did things go wrong?
What went wrong? So many things went wrong. Number one, what we see as value today differs as what is supposed to be a value. It is a global understanding today that materials is what we should pursue. Any society pursuing materials without restriction, and it has become a do or die affair. You must be wealthy. And this concept has been rooted into the aged ones. Somebody at the age of 70, still accumulating wealth, seeing it as value. Of course, we are not saying materials are not value, but seeing it is as the ultimate value in life, then automatically that society is going to have a problem in the family. And by extension, is going to have problem as we are having today in our society. Until orientation is on by all stakeholders, the individuals, the family, the extended family, the area units, if you so like, the state, in fact, the authority too, must see this issue as a challenge, and then they should find a way. In fact, even legislators should see a way of legislating laws that will counter this concept of worshiping materials.
Educational institutions actually are more of communal environments. We have all the staff are responsible for all the children. In fact, we call them class parents. And we feel it's not about being class tutors, but class parents. You can't be a form tutor, but a form parent. At that point in time, you are the father or the mother of that child in that school. And we tell parents, once you bring the children into our gate, they are no longer your children, they are ours. And we have the right to discipline them as we do our own children. So educational institutions have that role to make sure that they check the discipline of the child in a wholesome manner, because we want all-rounded children. However, like Professor said, there are issues with parents. And that's why I said earlier, everything boils back to the home. When the parent feels the school cannot or should not or will not discipline my child, then it's a problem. It becomes a big problem. I have heard issues of parents going to schools to fight the schools because their children have been disciplined in one way or the other, especially if it requires the cane. Now, those parents, I'm sure, have been caned hundreds of times when they were growing up, because our parents did not spare the cane. Our schools did not spare the cane, and the community did not spare the cane.
You've made me very proud, because I'm proud because of the hand that rocked the cradle that raised me, that you're giving them kudos. Alhamdulillah. Actually, in parenting in the home front, the most important thing there is to ensure that all the children within the home, whether the same bloodline or not, are brought up without distinction. When I say this, it means purely that typically at homes now, you see the parents, the children, the cousins, and the house helps. And there's a disparity in how people relate, in how the parents relate to each group of people. And so, when you discriminate, your siblings, the children you raise, also will discriminate. Children learn in two ways: from what they hear and from what they see you do. We shouldn't forget to keep talking to the children and telling them the right thing to do. They'll look as if they're not listening, or they'll be distracted, but it's sinking in their head. Don't give up correcting boundaries, put sets of rules, and have a home code of conduct of your home and your family code of conduct. And let those family code of conduct be based on the light of Islam and the lifestyle of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Greet me as your father. Greet your mother as your mother. Because the Bible tells me that respect and honor to parents will prolong your days. Therefore, we need to understand, our uncle here was trying to emphasize the issue, but he did not strike it. You know the point I'm trying to strike. That if we want to gain true successful communal parenting, we should counsel our children. Those of you that are Islamic clerics, I think it is very, very crucial, so that the father from one culture has his own looking at, the mother has her own ways of looking at things. It's never done that way. And certainly, if your son goes out to marry a girl from Russia, or from China, or from Brazil, imagine what the cultural differences will be. So parenting that child,
yes, sir, will be more difficult. Yes, sir.
As an imam, imam simply means somebody who is in front leading, so that others will emulate him. He is a role model. That's why in prayers, which is the biggest work you are sent to on earth to do, is to worship Allah. You obey the imam. فَإِذَا كَبَّرَ فَكَبِّرُوا وَإِذَا رَكَعَ فَارْكَعُوا وَإِذَا رَفَعَ فَارْفَعُوا وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. Now he is a role model. Now here in communal parenting, the imam should be a role model from the way he lives in his own family. He shouldn't be only an imam that is found in his students are abused professors. His wife or wives are not actually good example in society. His children are, then that person is not going to be a good imam. So the first thing an imam should know before even making sermon on the pulpit on Fridays, he should be a role model. Now after this, then he should use the opportunity given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to inform the listeners. And of course, he has opportunity of Fridays, which in Islamic teaching, when the imam is making his khutbah, nobody should talk. Even if the president is there, he should not talk. It means it's a golden opportunity for him to enlighten the Muslim Ummah of this big responsibility, the family. Because that is the shortest way we can reform this nation. Also, our leaders have a role to play. He should be bold enough to tell our leaders, because some of them, if not most of them, are not concerned about the issue of child bringing up. And this is very unfortunate and sad. That's why today you find so many schools that are willing, but they cannot because the parents have their ways. In fact, a parent can take a teacher to court and be penalized for no reason just because he has beaten his child. And in Islamic teaching, it's all for you to beat. There are so many ways you discipline a child, but Rasulullah sallallahu, the most merciful of mankind, he said, "Muru awladakum bisalati li sab'in wadribuhum alayha li ashrin." Command your children to pray at the age of 7, even before. But where they refuse at the age of 10, and in those days at the age of 10 they are not matured. But today in some areas at the age of 10 a child may be matured. But he said beat them if they refuse to pray at the age of 10. And this is only about prayers. The analogical deduction is that you can beat them for any crime they commit at that age. So imam should emphasize the content of the Quran and the life history of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu and that of the companions, and especially to those who are before him.
You would agree with me that a lot was said there, from the issues of value system to the issue of how empty, how our houses have become. And if I'm to summarize and pick some of the biggest issues I see from that discussion, is the issue of the core value system of a society. If a society has changed from fear of God, from that primary responsibility of the person, of the nature of human beings, to material things being the most important thing, then I think that was established as a big problem. So if we have a home wherein the father needs to go out and chase, the mother needs to go out and chase, and who is left that is trustworthy, that is educated at home? And Ajia Maria also talked about the school system. This situation where we parents that experience a lot growing up, the kind of discipline that we received, today we don't want anything like that for our children. Then how do we want the children to be better, our children to be better than us, if the base training and discipline that we received, we cannot, instill in them? These and more were discussed, and I pray Allah to make it easy for us to, pick what works for us, and in our little communities, build momentum, build children, and build homes that are sustainable. We'll stop here for this week, and from next week, inshallah, we'll be going into other issues that affect us collectively, and everybody can pick lessons from it. I remain Jibril Ibrahim. I'll see you next week.